What is going on, you guys? It is your boy Cyrus Obsidian here at Obsidian Games, here to bring you another episode of Local Diaries. So let's dive right in. So as promised in our last episode, we are bringing back Shining Sarcophagus. I have been waiting to debut this one again. It has been a long time since we've played it. We've played it in Master Duel, we played it in the TCG, and now we're bringing it back with the new support in Dark Magician Girl, the Magician's Apprentice. Another way for us to get into Shining Sarcophagus, which the deck desperately needed. Now that we have more starters, we have a little bit more of a better chance of being able to establish some boards and break some boards. Without further ado, let me show you the deck profile, and then we're going to head out to locals to see how far we can take Shining Sarcophagus. All right, so here is the profile that we are going to rock with. To start out, we are playing 2 copies of Gandora G, the Dragon of Destruction, 1 copy of Dark Magician, the Magician of Black Magic, and 3 copies of Dark Magician Girl, the Magician's Apprentice. So, I mean, she is definitely a mandatory 3 of to play in the deck, just because she gets you into Shining Sarcophagus, especially when Gadget Trio, which we have at 3, does get negated. To round out the monsters, we are playing 2 copies of Silent Magician 0 and 1 Silent Swordsman 0. So I think for a monster lineup, this is going to be pretty standard going forward. I am tempted to run back to 2 for Dark Magician, the Magician of Black Magic, but there are times that when I last played this deck, I was bricking on these 2 right here a lot, and so I would rather brick on these, knowing that I can normal summon them or special summon them with the discard, of course, to get into full combo. So that's where my mind is at. Going into the spells, we are playing, of course, 3 copies of Shining Sarcophagus, the 3 copies of Future Silence. We are only playing 1 copy of Turn Silence, because this was, again, one of those cards where I was bricking on it. 1 copy of Ties That Bind, and 1 Secrets of Dark Magic. So, Secrets of Dark Magic isn't the Shining Sarcophagus, but I mean, it is pretty much Shining Sarcophagus support, since Dark Magician, the Magician of Black Magic can set it. And then we are playing 1 copy of Prod of Prosperity. I was originally playing 3 copies of Extravagance, but I decided to take it out so that way we could play more non-engine, just because in testing, a lot of the times when I had Extravagance, it was already too late and it didn't matter. So we are playing for the non-engine 3 copies of Nibiru, 3 copies of Droll, which this is where we had Extravagance in its place. We decided to go with Droll just because Droll's a really good card this format. 3 copies of Effect Veiler, 3 copies of Ash, 3 Imperm, 1 D-Shifter, 1 Magnuma, 1 Bestial Druisworm, 1 Called By, and 1 Crossout Designator. So my theory behind is seeing one of these, if we see the shifter, we see the shifter and it resolves, we pretty much stall for a turn against anything that's not Malice. Droll is also really good at shutting out decks. I am probably going to swap out the Veilers for the Moltarmies, whether it's Fuelos or Brulia. Most likely Fuelos, just because that has a little bit more impact. The Crossout and Called By, this is a 42, so I mean, you don't have to play these 2, or these 3 for that matter, but Magnuma does get you into Gandora G, if you do see Magnuma, of course. The Crossout and Called By are really just to hit the Droll and the Ash, because those 2 kind of do stop turns a little bit. When they Ash Shining Sarcophagus, or they Droll on the Shining Sarcophagus, or even on the Gadget Trio, or the Magician of Dark Magician, the Magician's Apprentice, that does hurt. So that's the reason why we're playing that. You could play Sales Ban as well. I think Sales Ban is going to be a really good card going forward, especially since we're seeing a lot of Mitsurugi playing it. On to the extra deck. So the extra deck will still reflect a little bit of what I was doing with the Extravagance, because we are playing 3 copies of Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. Obviously, we can only make 1. This was for the Extravagance, but since we don't have it, you could definitely change that. For some ranks, we are playing number 100 Numeron Dragon, 1 Dean Gearsu, the Orcus of the Eden Star, 197 Dragluvion, 1 Hope Harbinger, Dragon Titanic Galaxy, and then 1 Superstar Slayer Typhon. We are also playing 1 IP Masquerena, 1 SP Little Knight, 1 Dark, the Dark Charmer Gloomy, 1 Lina, the Light Charmer Lustrous, 1 Nightmare Phoenix, 1 Celine, and 1 Access Code Talker. So I like the inclusion of the Charmers just because, you know, you do play Darks and Lights, and in a format where Mitsurugi and Malice are really high, Dark is good. And then same thing goes with Lina, since Blue Eyes, and there are some Ryziels that are also light. You're able to steal those and just link climb into Access Code Talker, which is really awesome. Most of the times you can do game with that. In my case, I was able to leave them with like 400 life points, which was really dumb. But that was in testing. We'll see how well we do tonight, of course. Onto the side. The side is where we'll probably include some of the main, like in the future, some of this in the main. We're playing 3 copies of Perulia, 3 copies of Fuelos. I definitely want to main Fuelos just like I do with the Regenesis, because I think Fuelos is just really good, especially when going second. Getting those draws because the deck needs that. We are playing 2 Triple Tactics Thrust with a target of Triple Tactics Talent and Harpy's Feather Duster, along with some trap targets of 1 copy of D-Barrier, 1 copy of Different Dimension Ground, since we don't care about having our graveyard. Gandora Chi needs the banishment to be buffed. And then 3 copies of Destructive Daruma Karma Cannon. So since we also don't care about our stuff being face down, and again, with Malice running around, Mitsurugi, Ryziel, Daruma Karma Cannon is a crazy good card. They put any sort of link presence on the board, just flip this and watch them squirm a little bit. It's funny, especially when you play lab. You know, for you, any of you lab players, you know how good this card is, and I'm on the train. I am. It is really, really good. So that is it for our deck. Now let's head to locals and see how well we can do with a revamped Shining Sarcophagus.
Okay, so this has been insane. We show up late for starters. Thankfully, we show up just late on time. Round 1 goes to time. Round 2 is crazy. So we got a minute left before time is called. So we're gonna go round 1. Play against Mitsurugi Ryziel. We win the die roll, go first. We're able to establish a decent board. We end with Shining Sarcophagus, Silent Magician 0, Silent Swordsman 0, Gadget Trio, and 1 other monster on board. We weren't able to get access into Dragoon, which was unfortunate, but we were heavily relying on hand traps, which we had none. Or we had like a Veiler or something, and yeah, it wasn't the best. He was able to crack our board easily. I think we had Ash was what was in our starting. We tried our best to try it and just solidify, but it wasn't enough. He was able to take it. Game 2, we go first again. This time we set up a little minimalistic board with Dragoon, because we were prioritizing that with Silent Magician 0. So we were able to have the spell negate and Dragoon, the Omni negate. We were able to solidify on that, and we eventually took it after a grind. And at this point, we had 5 minutes left, because game 1 went like 25 minutes, something like that. Because it was a grind. And then we Perulia'd, and then Fuelos, because we drew into Fuelos, so we Fuelos, and we just drew a crap ton of cards, and we were able to just solidify getting hand traps, but time was called as he was ending his main, and he was not able to make Gaia Cowboy to cowboy me for game, because he'd focused on the Mitsurugi side rather than the Ryziel. So we ended in a draw. Round 2, we play against Heroes. We go first, and we made a mistake. Or we didn't make a mistake, but we just drew like 3 Future Silences for turn, and we go 1, we search, we get Shining Sark, he trolls me, sad, and it was just over from there. We had a Bestial, but the Bestial wasn't enough. It did screw up his end board, but he was still able to OTK me since we did pay half our life points with Gandora, so there's that. Game 2, I should have made him go first rather than we go first. And we ended with Dragoon, or we were trying to get Dragoon and the Silent Magician 0, but he super polyed, and that's all she wrote. And then he tactics me and stole my monster, killed me with my own monster. So we are 0-1-1 for our local so far with Shining Sarcophagus. The deck is still fun. I love playing it. It's a fun deck to play. Don't get me wrong. Not competitive by any means, but it's definitely a fun deck. So we got 2 more rounds left to go, and we'll see what happens there. Round 3, we play against Blue Eyes, structure deck. We win the die roll, we go first. We're able to establish a board. He can't break through it. And we just take the W there with an OTK. Game 2, same situation. Just he saw no engine, and we just cracked his board and took the win. So yeah, that's all there was. So we're 1-1-1. 1 win, 1 loss, 1 draw. Funny. Yeah. On a different side note though, we did run into one of the guys that's playing. He is from out of town and he's playing Regenesis, and right now he is undefeated. So I've got my hopes high because we've gone undefeated so far with Regenesis, playing our cracked version. And I'm excited to see if he takes it. I am excited. So we'll see what happens there. I will keep you posted because it's cooking. Regenesis is cooking. All right, last and final round, we play against Chimera Illusion as Amina. Game 1, it's a grind fest. We literally go until like 12 minutes. Just back and forth. I sullied and stayed on Silent Magician 0 forever. The fact that I was able to resolve it and get it to level 14 was crazy, and that's what won me the duel, because he made a Chaos Angel that just with light and dark, so monsters can't be destroyed in battle, Chaos Synchro monsters aren't affected. So we just swung over little guys that he left in attack position, mainly his SP Little Knight, and we just swung for game that way. Game 2, he opened up crazy and just like there was no breaking the board. We tried and just couldn't. Bricked so hard. And then game 3, we finished siding. I go to my draw phase. I go turn silent, or not, the other quick play. Why can't I remember it? But I go that, and he ashes, and then time is called. And it's like, well, draw. So we end 1-2-1, 1 win, 2 draws, 1 loss. The deck is fun. I like it, but it's not competitive by any means. We may play a ton of non-engine hand traps, but I mean, I might go back to playing the Pot of Extravagance because it just really sucks not drawing into engine and you're just bricking on big names like Gandora or, yeah, it's fun, but it's not competitive. But that's it for this local diaries. We placed 10th out of 17. Not too bad, not too bad. Love the deck. Definitely let me know what you guys think about it. But other than that, I'll pass it over to you.